They don't warn you about the day your legs betray you. No one tells you how the world shrinks, inch by inch, as your steps grow slower, the stairs get taller, and simple distances, just a hallway to the kettle, just the porch, begin to feel like borders between countries you no longer visit. You wake up one morning and notice the sunlight on the window ledge. It's the same as always, but the simple act of swinging your feet to the floor carries a heaviness it never did before. The first time your legs tremble beneath your weight, you laugh it off, blaming the cold, a bad night's sleep, or a memory of running fast once across the yard. You don't say it out loud, but a quiet fear settles in. What if this is the beginning? What if this is how it starts, this fading away that no one talks about, not until it's too late? Your children call, busy voices filling the phone, asking if you've eaten, if you're walking enough, if you need anything from the shop. You want to tell them that you miss being able to walk to the shop yourself. You miss the confidence of legs that answered every command. But you say you're fine, that it's just a bit of stiffness, that you'll take your vitamins. And maybe you mean it, for you remember when a body could bounce back after a day in the garden or a morning on your feet. Now you track time by how long you can stand before the ache sets in, by the way your knees whisper their complaints into the night, long after the rest of the world has gone silent. People imagine old age as a gentle slowing, a dignified ease into softer days. But it isn't. Sometimes it's a sharp loss. One moment you can, the next you cannot. Sometimes it's gradual, a steady retreat, each step a little less certain than the last. Sometimes you look in the mirror and wonder if the person standing, cautious and hunched, is really you at all. The body that carried children, that danced at weddings, that hiked hillsides, now waits for the handrail, the careful help, the gentle reminder, take it slow, take it easy, you're not as young as you used to be. But here's the truth they forget to tell you. The loss of strength in your legs is not just a story about muscles growing old. It's a story about losing the world you once moved through so freely. It's the silent fear of becoming invisible, of being left behind as the world carries on. Each time you hesitate at the bottom of the stairs, each time you grip the arm of a chair for balance, you're reminded, sometimes cruelly, that independence slips away with every shaky step. And no one, not even those who love you most, truly knows what that costs you. You remember the pride you felt in small, ordinary things, standing tall to change a light bulb, carrying groceries, walking your granddaughter to school. No medals for these victories, no applause, but they mattered. Now, you count victories in other ways, making it to the mailbox without stopping, standing long enough to finish the dishes, getting out of bed without your knees buckling. The world doesn't see these battles, but you do. And maybe you're one of the lucky ones, someone who never had to think about vitamins or calcium, or why a walk in the sun matters more now than it ever did before. Maybe you still tell yourself, I'll get stronger next week. Maybe you still pretend you don't notice how your legs tire faster, how you sit more than you stand. You keep the secret because you don't want to be a burden, and because admitting it means something inside you is slipping away. But tonight, sitting quietly as the world outside the window hums with a life that feels just out of reach, you remember a truth too many forget. Sometimes, strength isn't about youth or willpower. Sometimes it's about the small, invisible things, like the quiet vitamins working in the background, the gentle habits no one sees, the hope you carry in a spoonful of oil or a handful of seeds. No one tells you that a simple habit, repeated daily, can mean the difference between standing and sitting, between a life that moves and a life that waits. No one tells you that what you swallow in silence, vitamin D, B12, C, K2, magnesium, E, can be the quiet soldiers holding your legs upright when so much else seems determined to pull you down. The world forgets, but your body remembers. It remembers every childhood fall, every night you danced, every mile you walked alone. And now, it calls out for help in the only ways it can: an ache, a cramp, a silent fatigue that settles deep in the bones. You can hear your mother's voice sometimes, reminding you to finish your food, to drink your milk, to get outside and let the sun find your face. You didn't listen then. Not always. You were too busy running. But now you hear it, softer, threaded through memory. Take care of your body, because one day it will ask you to repay every debt. It is easy, as you grow older, to believe that weakness is inevitable, that the best you can do is slow the slide. But the harsh truth is that neglect, tiny, accumulated, ordinary neglect, is what wears away your strength, not the years alone. The body remembers what you give it and what you don't. Maybe no one told you about the study that found older people with strong vitamin D levels fall less often, walk further, recover faster. Maybe no one told you that B12 keeps the messages between your brain and muscles running clear, so your legs don't feel numb or lost. Maybe you've never heard how vitamin C knits your joints together, or how K2 makes sure your bones don't hollow out from the inside, or how magnesium keeps the night cramps at bay, or how vitamin E stirs life back into legs that sit too long and swell with the day's regrets. No one tells you, so you don't tell anyone. It becomes another quiet fact of aging, like the letters you meant to write, the songs you meant to sing, the walks you thought you had forever to take. But by the end of this video, you'll understand what most people only realize too late. Sometimes it takes losing something, one small piece at a time, to notice how much it mattered. You sit by the window, hands folded, watching as the neighborhood children race across the street, legs pumping like the world can never slow them down. You remember that feeling, unstoppable, light, unafraid. It surprises you how memory lives in the legs as much as in the mind. There's a ghost of every step you ever took lingering in the muscles, waiting to be called back, if only the body would listen. You notice, too, how those around you pretend not to see when you pause at the bottom of the stairs, when you reach for the rail instead of stepping boldly ahead. There is a gentle shame in needing help, in feeling the weight of every year. Your loved ones offer to carry the bags, to help you into the car, to fetch your slippers. They think they're being kind, and perhaps they are. But every small kindness is a reminder that something precious is slipping, a tiny independence, a stubborn pride. Sometimes you want to shout, "I'm still here. I'm not done yet." But instead, you smile and thank them, holding tight to the hope that tomorrow your legs might feel a little less tired, a little more yours. You start to notice the small habits, how a spoonful of cod liver oil in the morning sits alongside your tea, how you look for ways to add color to your plate, how a handful of pumpkin seeds becomes a ritual as sacred as prayer. There is no miracle in these things, only the slow, persistent work of giving the body what it truly craves. You don't tell anyone, not really. It's a private contract. I will care for you, old legs, if you carry me a little farther. As days go by, you realize these habits aren't just about the vitamins themselves. They are about choosing hope, choosing to believe that small things add up, that even at 94, the body can answer when called upon. There is a stubbornness in you that refuses to let go. Every time you take that spoonful, every time you walk one extra step, you're writing a quiet love letter to the life you still want to live. And you think of all the people who never learned this, who waited for someone else to fix it, who blamed fate, who settled into their chairs and let the world become smaller and smaller until it fit inside the four walls of a single room. You feel the sorrow of that, a gentle ache, not unlike the one in your knees at night. You wish you could tell them that strength is not just in the muscles, but in the choosing every day not to give up. You remember a friend, a neighbor perhaps, or an uncle, who always seemed so strong, who never missed his morning walk. He used to say that the day you stop moving is the day you start dying. You didn't believe him then. You thought the body could always bounce back. Now you see the wisdom in his words, the warning tucked inside a joke. It's not just the legs, you realize. It's everything those legs made possible. Family dinners carried to the table, grandchildren hoisted into your lap, slow walks through the market with someone you love. When your legs weaken, the world doesn't just become harder to reach. It becomes quieter, lonelier, filled with the silence of things you can no longer do. You let that truth sting just for a moment. You allow yourself to grieve for all the small losses, the silent slipping away, but you don't stay there. Instead, you choose to act, to gather the simple tools within reach, a walk in the sun, a little more time at the table, a careful eye on what you eat. You learn to treasure the simple, mundane acts that once seemed automatic, standing up without fear, stepping into the garden, feeling the solid earth beneath your feet. The world still expects the elderly to fade, to become fragile and compliant, to settle quietly into the background. But you, whether you're living these words or loving someone who is, know there is more fight in an old heart than most people ever see. There is more hope in a daily habit than in 1,000 empty promises. You do not want to be cared for as if you are already gone. You want to be seen, understood, and supported in your effort to stay strong, on your terms, for as long as you can. So you begin again, each day, with the quiet courage it takes to believe in change. You measure progress not in miles, but in the steadiness of your step, in the absence of pain, in the feeling that you are still the author of your own movement. You make peace with the fact that you may never run again, but you will keep walking, and you will do so with as much dignity as you can muster. And on the days when discouragement comes, when your legs feel heavy, when the ache won't subside, when you wonder if any of it is worth the trouble, you remember why you started. You remember the taste of freedom in your first steps as a child, and you remember how fiercely you have fought to hold on to that freedom. Every year since, you remind yourself, the work of staying strong is never finished. The body is a story that rewrites itself daily. You do not get to choose the ending, but you do get to choose the effort, the care, the hope. There's a moment, quiet, almost sacred, when you realize how much strength is not about muscle, but about meaning. Maybe it happens as you reach for your slippers, or when you stand alone in a silent kitchen at dawn, the world outside just waking up. In that hush, you can feel the shape of all the days behind you and the uncertain promise of what's ahead. There's loss, yes, but there's also the miracle of still being here. Legs beneath you, however shaky, still yours, still capable of carrying you somewhere new. Sometimes you catch yourself wishing someone would notice the effort it takes, not just to walk, but to hope. You want to be seen, not as a burden or a fading memory, but as a person who is still living, still reaching for more. Your children, your grandchildren, they are busy, and you understand. Life sweeps them along as it once swept you. But there are moments you want to say, don't just remember me as I was. See me as I am now, fighting every day for one more walk, one more story, one more taste of morning light. Perhaps that's why the small rituals matter so much. Why you cling to the simple, stubborn acts of self-care. They are the quiet proof that you're not giving up, not letting go. A spoonful of cod liver oil, a handful of seeds, the gentle pressure of sunlight on your face. These are not just habits. They are prayers for more time, more movement, more life. And somewhere deep inside, there is a wish that those you love will one day understand what it costs to keep standing, to keep moving through pain and fatigue and loneliness. That they will look past the surface and see the fierce will beneath, the spirit that refuses to disappear quietly. You may not say these things out loud, but every time you rise, every time you push forward, you are saying them all the same. In the end, maybe the greatest gift is not strong legs or even more time, but the understanding that your struggle matters, that your effort is seen, honored, and remembered. The elderly don't need you to take care of them. They need you to understand,